Are you using the Limitless chip this week in Matchday 2 UCL Fantasy? If so, you're in the right place because I'm going to take you through the best Limitless squad for Matchday 2 right here. So kicking off my Matchday 2 Limitless team is the goalkeepers. Now, I have gone for Manuel Neuer of Bayern. He has a really, really nice fixture against Paphos on the first day. I don't really like any of the Bayern defenders, to be perfectly honest. I know they've kind of been chopping and changing over the past couple of years in terms of personnel. Like Guerrero goes in at left back and so does Bowie. You know, they have a lot of different options. So and with very little attacking threat as well. And Bayern have joint top clean sheet odds this week across the board. So one of the favourites to keep a clean sheet. So for me, Neuer is in. Now, I also like David Raya of Arsenal. Arsenal have been fantastic, you know, in the league. I think they've only conceded 3 big chances in the Premier League this season, which is obviously great. They kept the clean sheet in the first round as well against Athletic Bilbao away from home. So really, really solid goalkeepers this week. You don't have to worry about budget because it is a limitless. So these would be my 2 goalkeepers going into Matchday 2. So really strong defence this week. I have gone premium pretty much across the board. Now, Inter have been one of the best defences in Europe over the past couple of years, but what's more important though is they play with a back three system, which allows their wing backs into obviously super attacking areas. Now, Dumfries, being one of their best kind of wing backs, did manage 3 attacking returns in his first 4 matches of the season. Now, with DeMarco as well, he's in kind of more recent form, in fact. So he's managed a goal and assist in his 2 matches. So, you know, Dumfries started the season really well offensively, and DeMarco has been kind of improving under Chivu, under the new manager. Now, both of those players were rested in the previous Serie A match. So I do think that, you know, they'll both not only start, but they'll be well rested and ready for this home match against Slavia Prague. So as well as clean sheet potential, I'd expect attacking potential from these 2 players. I also still really like House, and he's still only 4.5 million, but I think he is nailed in the Real Madrid defense. He's obviously, you know, formerly of Bournemouth, a really good centre back as well. Could have goal threat potential, but I just think he's a solid pick. I do really like Real Madrid's chances of keeping a clean sheet this week. Yes, you know, Housen is not the most attacking player, but he's a solid player. He'll probably back a solid kind of decent return. So for me, he also makes the cut. Now, Gabriel does too. That isn't just recency biased. I think Arsenal are one of the best defenses in Europe. I think, you know, they kept the clean sheet in match day 1. They've got Olympiacos this week, who failed to actually score against Paphos, one of the worst teams in the tournament. And Gabriel is also a major threat from set plays, right? We obviously saw his goal threat in the recent match against Newcastle, in which he scored. So he didn't keep a clean sheet, but he scored. So has multiple routes to points. Now, talking of multiple routes to points, I also really, really like Grimaldo. Now, he's been ridiculous recently, goals and assists in most of his last couple of matches. Leverkusen are not at it at the moment. They just really aren't. But PSV conceded like over 3xG last week to USG. Now, I do think that if Leverkusen score goals, and I do think they will, Grimaldo will be among them. If they keep a clean sheet, that's fantastic. But I would definitely, you know, expect attacking threat from Grimaldo going into this week. So for me, you know, you've got the 2 attacking wing backs at Inter. You've got Gabriel, who has attacking threat. You've got Leverkusen's is probably arguably the best free kick taker in the world and a major creative and goal threat. And then obviously Housen. So for me, really happy with that back line if I was limitless in this week. Now, this is the limitless midfield that I would go with if I was using the limitless this week. I would definitely keep in Salah, who obviously scored a goal and got an assist against Atleti in matchday 1. Now, Galatasaray did ship 5 goals in matchday 1 as well. So I think keeping the Liverpool attack, who will be looking for vengeance, obviously, after that Crystal Palace defeat on the weekend, I think is just a good idea. Owning Salah, you know, he does cost quite a lot of money. So I can see why people are put off Salah, but I just think when you've got an unlimited budget, he's an absolute must and essential for me. I also think Elise, again, is a really, really good option. They play Paphos this week. Bayern are scoring at least 3 goals in most of their matches. I think it's like 7 of their last 9. So one of the most relentless and informed attacks in Europe, if not the world, in terms of teams going into this week. And Paphos, yes, they might have held back Olympiacos, but I cannot see them doing it to Bayern. So yeah, for me, Elise is another absolute shoe-in. Now, Arsenal, a really good home match. We know how good Arsenal are at home. We know how good Saka was at home last season in UCL Fantasy, and he is now back from injury. And he played most of the game against Newcastle, didn't he? So I think, if you are using Limitless this week, you have to have some Arsenal attacking coverage in against Olympiacos at home. So I've gone for Saka because there are so many good striker options this week. I think Saka fills a much needed midfield spot. I also think that Anthony Gordon is still a really good option. Now, Newcastle are better at home. A lot of people know that, but I do think that USG keep conceding goals. They are still a team to target. Yes, they might score, but I definitely think they'll concede. Now, I think Newcastle have a few different good attackers, but Gordon really does stand out. He scored against Barca. Could have scored a brace against Barca, actually. So for me, this week, I think Gordon is a really, really good option in midfield. Now, there are lots of great options in midfield this week, and another one is Vinicius Jr. Now, yes, he didn't start in matchday 1, but he has been in form recently. 3 assists and 1 goal for Real Madrid. And what's better is we actually get the lineups for Real Madrid. They are the early kickoff on the Tuesday, so we get to see the lineups, make our moves in the team before the deadline. And I just think that if Vinicius Jr. is in the starting lineup against Kehrat, then I just think you have to have him. Taking into account his form, yes, he's been in and out the squad, but his actual output has been very, very good. So I think he's an absolutely fantastic option. And that is the midfield. I don't think I could replace anyone in that current midfield. So super happy with that. So up front, I think you have to own a double Bayern attack this week. I think obviously, along with Elise, you can have Harry Kane, 16 goals, I think, this season in all competitions. One of the most informed strikers, if not the most informed striker in Europe at the moment. He's managing more than 2, or at least 2 attacking returns in the majority of his matches, which is fantastic for obviously captaincy. Even at that, when you're paying that much money, you want that. I suppose that's irrelevant in this case for a Limitless, but I think it goes to show it's really important. He's super, super explosive. He's not just ticking away. He's scoring 2-3 goals per match at the moment, or, assists and goals. So I think, him against Paphos, I think he's an essential. I don't think you can go without Harry Kane this week. Now, I also don't think you can go without Erling Haaland, because I think if you look at the captaincy on the Wednesday, the captaincy options are really, really awkward. If you don't get captaincy, if you don't get a decent return on the first day, you are really, really going to want Haaland on that second day. He plays Monaco, who have been extremely leaky lately. Haaland is in a brilliant form as well. We saw what he did recently to Burnley. We're seeing what he's doing to every single team he plays against at the moment. So great standout captaincy option on day 2, and he just really, really is in form at the moment. You could probably say the same for Mbappe. Whilst he isn't playing on day 2 of matchday 2, he's in fantastic form at the moment. He is Real Madrid's main man. I think obviously you can check the lineups with against Kehrat before the deadline. Obviously, if Mbappe's playing, you have to put him in. I think Real Madrid are probably going to score quite a few goals. They're going to be very, very angry and upset with their recent defeat against Atleti in La Liga. So I think they're going to be coming at Kehrat with absolute vengeance this week. So I expect Mbappe to score, a couple of goals, get a couple of attacking returns. Wouldn't be surprised if this whole front line managed 2+ attacking returns this week. So that is my front line. Do you want more UCL Fantasy content ahead of matchday 2? Then you're in the right place, because my team selection for the second round is already out and you can check it out here. Please remember, though, to like and subscribe for more great content ahead, and I'll see you guys again soon.